Greetings, adventurers and curious people. Here in Japan, it's still kind of hot. The rains have started to come back, and usually in the summertime there's no wind, pure heat, some humidity, sometimes a lot of humidity. And now it's raining. Today was a day to go do takuhatsu, which is putting on this crazy hat called a ajirogasa, and then offering my eating bowl. I should probably just show you. Just like this. Chanting Buddhist sutras for the benefit of all living beings. And for those people who feel so inclined, they make a small offering. They put a few yen in the bowl. And although this is the bowl that I actually eat out of, ceremonially, of course, I put a piece of felt in there so that you don't hear such an unpleasant plunk every time someone puts in a few yen. Also, it doesn't scratch up the beautiful lacquer that the bowl is covered with. What I'd like to tell you about today is the first video. What exactly is Zen? What do we do in Zen? Well, my name is Eshin. That's my Zen Buddhist name. It's not the name that my family gave me when I was born, but it's the name that I identify with, that was given to me by my master and then changed by another master. And now, as a Zen monk, as a Zen priest, that's what I carry as an identity. I think lots of people don't know what Zen really is. There are a few internet teachers, really great ones. There's Muho, there's Brad Warner, Shozan Jack Haubner. If you haven't checked out their videos, I highly recommend them. They're wonderful, wonderful, very developed teachers. Much more, far and beyond anything that I could possibly ever say, they have already said. But there are always lots of different people with lots of different approaches, and it's worth putting this perspective, my experience, out there in the world, because maybe it helps one or two people. And if that's all it is, great. You're welcome. If not, go watch one of those other guys. They're great. As far as I understand it, in my experience, Zen is just sitting still. I'm looking over here at my notes. Zen is sitting still. But what does sitting still really mean? Sitting still, yeah, of course, it's twisting up your body and sort of holding your hands just right in your lap and not moving. Looks a bit like this. It doesn't look all that grueling, but try it. It wears you down a bit. Not in a bad way, certainly not in a bad way, but it's a practice. It's something you have to try a few times and then commit to after a few times, because after a few times it feels good, and after that it starts to feel very difficult to just sit. And in Japanese it's called shikantaza, only sitting, or hitasura suwaru koto. It's more than just sitting still, although sitting still is the most important aspect of it. It is indeed the root just below the surface of the ground, kind of poking out a little bit, if you imagine like the root of a tree. And we have to cultivate that with some intentionality to hold a certain kind of form, because we are a form, a body, and a thinking engine inside a skull, which is just one more organ in a great complex system which we call a body, which we call us. I encourage you to detach yourself from the idea that you are a pilot in your noggin driving this body. No. You are everything out to the very tips of your fingers, a radius of 12 kilometers in every direction that you can hear, and heavens forbid you can see even further than that. But everything at the very edge of every one of your senses is creating your sense of self. So where's the edge? Where is it limited to? Without cultivating the root of still sitting, we can't see it all. It doesn't come out clearly. For a lot of reasons we get to a whole nother time. But for now, basically, the basic instruction for how to sit still is just to arrange your body so that your upper body is straight up. You can imagine a string coming out the roof of your head, the top of your head, and allow gravity pulling down on your body Musicians would know this, and of course I have a history as a musician, that our posture is pivotally important to how we do. So we arrange our body sitting straight up, so we're neither leaning left or right or forward or back, and we don't have to use any muscle in our body to hold ourselves up, ideally. There's a little, of course there's a little, but minimizing, so that we're not using mental energy to hold ourselves up, to distract ourselves from just sitting. And then we do intentionally put our hands together in a way with our right hand on the bottom, left hand on that, and touch our knuckles, kind of overlap your middle finger, big knuckle in the middle there, and then make a nice big egg shape, and just rest this. It's called a mudra. This is a mudra, this is a mudra. They're all mudras. They're hands gestures which mean stuff. And this one is called a cosmic mudra, or in Japanese, the Hokkaijoin. Creates a circle here, which becomes a circle of your arms. If you're flexible and you sit on the floor and you can curl up your legs, then it creates a circle that's sort of your whole body, which becomes the room, and then the building, and then the town, or the neighborhood, and then the city, and then so on and so on, the earth and beyond. Cosmic. But it also echoes down to quarks, let's just say. And whatever's beyond that, which we haven't seen yet, but we'll probably see it eventually. The further you look, the further you see. No end in sight. But anyway, put your hands there, sit up nice and straight. Don't close your eyes. Kind of very much close your mouth. Don't tightly close it, but, gently shut your teeth. Tuck your tongue against the roof of your mouth, against the back of front teeth, and then don't close your eyes. Cast your gaze down a little bit so that your eyes are very relaxed and kind of closed. It's very easy to fall asleep, but don't do that. Let your vision get really soft so that you're seeing everything in your whole field of vision, but not looking at anything particular. You're also probably going to do that silly thing where you start to see faces and stuff. We do that. We're sort of genetically programmed to seek out familiar forms for other reasons, which we'll get to later. But even when that comes up, don't focus on that. Don't entertain yourself with what pops up in your vision. That's just a phenomenon. Just keep being there. And be still. Even if you got an itch, don't itch it. Itching is kind of a mistake anyway. It doesn't really help anything. And if you sit long enough, it's good practice, and it becomes a teacher in a way. Eventually the itch will go away on its own, most of the time. And even if your legs hurt or your butt hurts from sitting on the chair or wherever you're sitting, endure. Commit to a certain amount of time. 1 minute is okay. More is better, but 1 minute is enough. If you commit to that time, you set yourself a little timer on your watch or on something. Maybe watch is the best thing, or a kitchen timer. Get away from this computer thing. I highly recommend get away from this computer thing. And one of these things, a smartphone, no, don't use that. Do something a little bit more analog. Sit. Don't move for the amount of time that you commit yourself to. And if you approach the sitting the same way every time, and when you finish, move slowly, rock yourself out of it just a little bit here and there, and then stand up very slowly from your seat. Enjoy carrying the still sitting well after the actual sitting part. If you do this, you cultivate that root. 1 minute at a time. 1 minute a day is enough. More is better, but 1 minute a day is enough. Just sit. Let that space, and I mean that sort of metaphorically, the space creating stillness with the body, because this won't be still. Its job is not stillness. Its job is making thoughts. We'll get to that later. Don't worry about that. Just make the body still. The whole thing is like 99% body anyway. All of our senses begin and stimulate and create thoughts, or sometimes thoughts arise of their own. A lot of times it's connected to a sense experience. But if we don't move the body, we're already doing the work. So do that. Get on it. Just sit. And when you revisit that practice repeatedly, what happens is you cultivate this little root in the ground kind of thing. Like you're the root on the ground. If you sit on the ground, it's like your butt is the root on the ground. Your knees, your butt, the whole lower part of your body, right? But what happens, what grows above that root, the trunk, the branches, the leaves, all the critters that live in the thing, is not a tree. Follow me here. It's like dye. You know, like when you dye a fabric, it becomes a certain color, and you put a whole bunch of different things in it, and it sticks. And if you work with the dye, it covers your hands, it gets on everything, and you become dyed. But in this case, our still sitting as a root, if we cultivate the root with intention, taking up the form to become the formless. The formless is the trunk and the branches and the leaves, which have no form. That's just a metaphor, because everything becomes dyed with the color of the still sitting. What that looks like for each of you is different, but profound. And I highly, strongly, passionately encourage all of you to do it. Doing it is not, I should add, religiously exclusive of anything else. It's not about believing this or not believing that, or you must believe this and you must exclude that, or right and wrong. Indeed, it is the opposite. It is not participating in the judging process, the mental thinking process of thinking, this is right and this is wrong, or this is good and this is bad, or I should not. It's none of that. It's just sit down, shut up, don't move for a little bit of time. What happens is like the opposite, profoundly, medicinally, profoundly the opposite of getting stuck in your own opinions, becoming overstimulated by input from the internet. Although you're watching this on the internet, thank you. Get away from it. Do your best just to be present where you are, in your home, maybe with someone else if they want to try it too. It's a great idea. It's really good energy to do this with other people. And enjoy the medicine. The medicine is like, man, if you're a Christian or you're a Muslim, you're any of those things, and you just sit still, you might, I wager, you might be able to more deeply understand the miracle of God in your life. How could that be a bad thing? You put your ego in and keep futzing with everything with ideas. How can you possibly understand what this great thing is that God has given us? If that's what you believe. If that's not what you believe, then that's fine too. Whatever lines up for you, you can begin to see with less of your own baggage just what that is. You might develop a more honest relationship with everything, beginning with yourself. What is yourself? It's certainly not your opinions. It's not your ideas. Those weren't even yours. Those kind of come into us. People teach them to us. Well, we might adopt them. But ultimately, everything you think was told to you at some point, somehow. And just sitting still is a way to sort of check. What's this? What is my relationship? What is my regard for all of that? Actually, what is that and what is this? What's the difference? Where do the edges meet? That's a mystery. But only you can explore for you about where exactly that intersection is. So, to recap, sit still. Arrange your body in a particular way. You don't have to do this. This is what we do in Zen, and probably in some other parts of Buddhism too. Maybe people do this. Maybe people do this. You know, whatever your thing is. It doesn't matter. Just sit still. Don't move for a little while. Don't close your eyes. Why not close your eyes? Don't close your eyes because it's too easy to fall asleep. If you fall asleep, then you're just dreaming or wandering away into the world of thought, which is fun. I got no beef with that, except that ain't it. This is it. Right now. Awake. Here. In this space. And this time. That's it. That's the stuff. Pay attention to that. That's why we don't close our eyes in what we call Zazen. That's what I'm going to put these characters to see if I can put them up in this nice place here. So, Za. Zen. Now, the za in the Japanese way means sit. And Zen is interesting because Zen is a character which originally comes from the Sanskrit word jhana, which means concentration. When Buddhism went to China, or sort of the teachings began to be carried into China, the Chinese people used a sort of phonetic approximation of jhana and called it channa, which then it's annoying to say two characters, so let's just say one, so it became chan. And then, of course, Japanese people read zen. It's sort of like an accent thing, how people read the same characters mean the same thing, effectively, even though it doesn't inherently have its own meaning, zen. It has a referential sound to the original Sanskrit or Pali name of that activity or that phenomenon of concentration. And that's why when we sit Zen, when we do Zazen, we don't need any object. We don't need to count the breath. We don't need to body scan. We don't need to be mindful and hold on to everything that's happening here and all around us. No. Just be there. Notice and let it go. Notice and let it go. Coming and going like the weather. But the body is still. 99% of this is your body. So just sit still. 1 minute is enough. More is better, but 1 is enough. So I encourage you with that. Cultivate the root. Experience the whole world being dyed by the still sitting. Then, see you in the next one. Thank you. I ought not forget that there is a link in the description down below, which is to a PayPal through which I can accept donations. When you give, it's a little bit that goes in this bowl. It could be a food thing, could be money. Whatever it is, whatever goes in the monk's bowl becomes the monk's body, this monk's body. That generosity is profound. It becomes the body physically. It also becomes the body of practice, which begins here and extends throughout the entire universe as a pure offering of Dharma and well wishes for all living beings, that everyone live a happier, more peaceful, a little bit wiser, more introspective and friendly life. So with that, as we say over here in the land of the rising sun, yoroshiku onegai itashimasu.